Have you ever looked around and thought, we live in the most prosperous time in human history, so why does everything feel so broken? Well, we're about to dive into Mark Manson's super provocative book, Everything is Fucked, and explore a really counterintuitive idea. What if our search for hope is the very thing that's making us miserable? All right, first up, let's get into what Manson calls the modern paradox. And this is a big one because it really unpacks a mystery that I think a lot of us feel, even if we can't always put our finger on it. So here it is, the question at the heart of it all. If you look at pretty much every objective measure out there, life has never been better. So why is there this feeling of despair, this anxiety, this hopelessness that seems to be everywhere? I mean, just look at this. It lays the problem out so clearly. On paper, everything is trending up, right? Wealth, safety, lifespan, we are healthier, safer, and richer than any humans in history. And yet, so many of us feel like this picture on the right. There's this quiet desperation. And that gap, the one between our material comfort and our emotional state, that's the paradox we're here to unravel. So to even begin to understand this paradox, we have to look inward. The argument is that the problem might not be out there in the world, but inside the very machine we use to perceive it, our own mind. Now, get ready for an idea that might feel a little jarring. The feeling that you are in complete control of yourself, that you're the rational captain steering your own ship. Manson argues that, for the most part, it's an illusion, and this right here is the first key to unlocking our modern paradox. And this car metaphor is just a brilliant way to picture what's really going on. Your mind is the car. But who's driving? It's your feeling brain, the impulsive, pleasure-seeking, pain-avoiding part of you. It's got its hands on the wheel and its foot on the gas. Your rational thinking brain? Well, it's just the passenger with the map, suggesting directions. But, the driver is totally free to ignore those directions and head straight for the nearest psychic donut shop. And it often does. Okay, so now that we get this internal tug-of-war, let's get to the absolute core of the argument. And it's a big one. What if the very thing we all cling to for comfort, hope, is actually the thing making everything worse? It all starts here. Our values, the things we hold most dear, they don't actually come from our good experiences. They're forged in our pain. If you grew up poor, you're probably going to value financial security. If you were betrayed, you're going to value loyalty. Our feeling brain is always trying to balance the scales and fill a void that was left by a bad experience. So this collection of values that comes from our pain, it gets woven into a story, the story we tell ourselves about who we are. And that story becomes our identity. And we protect that narrative with everything we've got, as if our life depended on it. But here's the catch. To have hope, to really believe our story is true and that a better future is on its way, we can't do it alone. We need a tribe. We need a community that shares our values and tells us our story is right. Manson calls these religions, and they aren't just spiritual. It could be a political party, an ideological movement, even a sports team or a brand you follow. And this is where things take a dark turn. For our religion to feel strong and unified and, righteous, it needs an opposite. It needs an enemy. And us only feels really strong when there's a them to define itself against. And all of a sudden, our personal hope for a better world becomes completely dependent on defeating someone else. And this is the knockout punch. Hope, in its mission to create a perfect future, actually opens Pandora's box. It creates division, conflict, and judgment. By promising us a pain-free heaven tomorrow, it makes us miserable and ready to fight today. So in the end, hope isn't the solution. It's the engine of the problem. Okay, so if hope is the problem, that leaves us in a pretty dark place. So where do we possibly go from here? Well, this final section is all about finding a more durable, a more resilient alternative. This is the obvious question, right? If we're supposed to abandon hope, what's left? Are we just supposed to give in to despair? The answer is no. Not exactly. The alternative is to stop trying to avoid pain and instead to accept it as a necessary part of life. This is an ancient Stoic concept called amor fati, which means a love of one's fate. It means embracing reality exactly as it is, the good, the bad, all of it, without needing the promise of a better tomorrow to make peace with the suffering of today. So what does this actually look like in practice? Manson says it means growing up. The slide here shows the stages. We start as children, driven only by pleasure.
Then we become adolescents, and we see life as a series of transactions. I'll do this for you if you do that for me. But the final step is to become an adult, someone whose actions are guided not by hope or transactions, but by unbreakable principles.
So what's the ultimate principle? Well, Manson borrows it from the philosopher Immanuel Kant. It's the one rule for a life of integrity. Treat humanity, in yourself and in others, always as an end and never merely as a means. In other words, don't use people. Don't use them as a bridge to get what you want. Recognize the inherent worth in every single person. That right there is the bedrock of a life beyond hope. And so we land here. The path to a more resilient and meaningful life isn't paved with hope for a future without pain. It's paved by building character in the present, acting with principle no matter what the outcome is, and finding freedom not in hope, but in acceptance. So I'll leave you with this. What would change if you stopped hoping for a better life and simply started living one right now?